let's do a review of basic rounding, because sometimes in these dosage calculation questions, you'll need to round properly to get the answer correct. Rounding also can have a huge impact on your final answer. So be sure you follow the policy that is appropriate to your school or to your place of work that will allow you to round properly. Here I'm just going to show you how to round to the nearest. Okay, and we're going to do examples to the nearest 10th place and then to the nearest 100th place. If you remember place value from school, you can look at these examples I have here. And in place value, when we're talking about the whole number, we're talking about this first digit here, the one to the left of the decimal, the period right there, that decimal to the left of it. So if you're talking about 1 milliliter, that's the whole number there. Now, in this case, this number actually goes out to the 1,000th place. So you have first here the whole number, then you have the 10th, then the 100th, and then the thousandths. So when this number comes up on your calculator and you need to round it properly, you need to know, what are you rounding it to? And in this video, I'm showing you how to round to the nearest number. Now, some policies, some things you'll need to round down or round maybe up. Most cases in nursing, we're rounding down or rounding to the nearest. This video is for the nearest. So again, check your policy and see which way am I supposed to be rounding. But here I'm demonstrating how to round to the nearest, and we'll do the nearest 10th first. So the 10th place in this first example is the number 4 here. I always recommend just highlighting, noting, putting your pencil right there, and then you simply look to the number just to the right of it. So in this case, that's a 5. There's another 5 there, but we don't even need to look to that thousandths place. We can just look right at the 5. If it is 5 or greater, so 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we round this 4 up. If it was lower than 5, it was a 4, 3, 2, or 1, we would round it down. So in this case, we have 1.4, and then we look at the 5 to the right. So we are going to round this up to the 10th. It'll be 1.5 milliliters as our final answer. Because we take that 10th place, we look just to the right of it. It's a 5, and we round up. Let's do another example and see if we can get this. Now here we have 2.3, that's my 10th place, so I'm going to make a note of that. I look just to the right. What digit do you see? I see a 2. So am I going to round up or down? Which is the nearest 10th? If you said down, you are correct, or it keeps the number the same. So you're going to put 2.3 milliliters. And this is really beneficial also when you're a nurse, because the reason you need to round is if you have a calibrated syringe, like a 3 milliliter syringe, you can only pull up to the 10th place. It's not, you can't give the patient more specifically like to the 100ths. Now, if it's less than 1 milliliter, they do have smaller syringes that are calibrated to the 100ths. But with the 3 ml syringes, you only get to the 10th place. So rounding to the 10th is important. All right, final example. We have 1.86. We look at that 10th place, we look to the right of it, it's a 6. So do we keep that 8 the same, or do we round up? If you say round up, you're correct. And we've got 1.9 milliliters for our final answer. So now let's take some of that practice we did there and now work on doing it to the 100th here, the nearest 100th. So we're still using that. If it's 5 and up, we round to the next number up. If it's 4 or below, we're keeping that number the same. So let's look at our first example. We have 0.275 milliliters. Underline the 100th place. That's right there. Okay, that's the second decimal, second number after the decimal. And then we are going to look at the number just to the right of it again. We see a 5 there. So is that 7 going to stay the same, or is it going to move up? If you said move up, you're correct. And we have 0.28 milliliters as our final answer. Now, this is asking you to round to the 100th because this small volume, less than 1 milliliter, should be drawn up usually in a 1 milliliter syringe. That's the best practice, and those are calibrated to the 100th. Those lines are really itty bitty but on that syringe, but they are there. All right, let's practice the next example. We have 0.283 milliliters. Underline or make a note of where your 100th place is. Look just to the right of it, and we see a 3. So we're going to keep that the same. And this is another 0.28 milliliters. And now let's do our final example. We have 0.1252. It could keep going. It could keep going. This number could be so long on your calculator, but you just need to look at this 100th place, which is the 2 here, and just to the right of it, we have a 5. So what do we do with that number? It goes up to 3. So 0.13 milliliters is the correct answer. And that's how you round to the nearest 100th and the nearest 10th. Be sure to check your policies, as I mentioned before, because rounding can vary depending on the course or your institution.